Good. All right. So let's just start sitting for a second. So today's practice is, although it's hot out, and I know that's hard, it's also a little bit about movement today. So we'll be exploring movement a little bit in our practice. It's kind of the same theme as last week, in that last week I said from riding my bike, I was feeling like core and legs were really working together synergistically. So we're kind of going to explore a little bit about that again today. So let's just see what happens. Move your fleshy tissue, your butt cheeks back and away. Feel the connection of your sit bones. Sit really nice and tall. And just get long. And lift the armpit chest up. Find that right now, maybe it's just there's so many things I'm doing bent over, and so I'm having some neck issues. So, you know, I'm gardening, I'm riding my bike, although my bike's upright, I do kind of do that. And yeah, and then writing and knitting and the whole bit. So I want you to just get really tall, draw your chin in, and let your shoulders drop towards your waist, not forcefully, just lightly. And then take your right hand, put it on top of your head, and then just push your head up into your hand so that we're getting length. And as you do that, just check in with your neck and see how it feels. Does it feel tight? Is there anything going on with it? And then lean back as if you're leaning into the back of a chair, so that your shoulder blades and your sacrum are sort of on the same plane. So my sacrum, my lower back is not back here, and my shoulder blades are here. It's in line, shoulder blades and sacrum, back of the head. So if I was leaning against a wall, I'd be in line. And then just close your eyes for a second. So, you know, it's part of our 6-phase meditation that I've been talking a lot about. And so the first phase is just relaxing your body. The second phase is gratitude. So thinking about 3 things I'm grateful for, or 5 things or 10 things. And the next phase is forgiveness. And so I've realized through all these little meditations I've been doing now for a good 6 weeks or so, or 8 weeks, that one of the people that we need to forgive the most is ourselves. And so I've just been starting the morning saying to myself, I forgive myself for everything that I've done in the past that may have hurt someone's feelings, or I may have, you know, rubbed somebody the wrong way, or yeah, anything. And just forgive myself for being so hard on myself all the time too, because I am. So we practice that little thought of forgiveness every day in the 6-phase meditation. And then just, we call it setting an intention, but you can also just visualize quickly in your mind how you want this practice to go and the rest of the day to go today. You're not setting a goal, you're just, this is what I would like. Okay. And bring your hands to your heart. Lift the breastbone up. And then when you're ready, drop your hands to your lap and slowly open your eyes. And then take both of your hands and interlock your fingers, place them on top of your head. You don't even have to interlock, you just place them on top of your head. And gently push your hands up into your head. Now, we're gonna do something that's gonna seem pretty strange, something I would normally tell you not to do, but you're gonna round the upper back and let your head come forward unnaturally, okay? And then push into your hands and draw up again, drawing the chin back. So I'm purposely kind of going out of alignment, chin forward, round my upper back, and then lifting up through the top of my head, drawing the chin in. Again, feeling that that my shoulder blades, my sacrum, and the back of my head would all be touching the wall if I was on that wall. Good. And then exhale and release, draw the chin forward, and then draw back up and forward again and up into your hands. You're pushing your head up into your hands. You shouldn't feel any strain in the neck though. And then let's do it again. We'll round, draw the chin forward, awkwardly, and then draw back. We're doing this really nice and slow, and then up again into the hands. Good. And then interlock your fingers or place your fingers on the back of your head and push the back of your head into your hands and your hands forward. And then exhale and release. And then let's do some big shoulder circles or scapula movement. So bring the shoulders up, back, down, and around. Up, back, down, and around. Seven, I'm doing like 8 one way, and then let's do 8 the other way. So, and you can, get as involved or as big as you want here. You can move your arms, but as long as the action is coming from the scapulas, the shoulder blades. Good. And then I think that was 8, and then just let your arms relax. Let your shoulders relax, your elbows draw down. Keep lifting the upper armpit or the armpit. I don't know if it's really the upper armpit, but it's the armpit, front armpit. Good. And then take your right hand to the floor, bring your left arm up, reach up really nice and high, and do a nice side stretch. So I really want to pin my left hip down as I draw over. And then I'm going to come on back, draw that arm up, and let's do the other side. So now my left hand is down and my right arm is reaching over. So again, pinning my hip. Please remember that if you guys can't hear anything or there's any problems with what we're doing today, or you have a question, just feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Don't forget that I've been posting the other classes on YouTube. And eventually I do post them on my website, so you can always see the past classes on there. Okay, we're gonna do some crazy arm circles. I'm just gonna do them sitting today, but feel free to get up and move if you want. And just move my arms around a little bit. So you can move in any way and just let your arms and relax and move. And you want to do this until your arms feel some fatigue. You can move the rest of your body along with the arms. Well, somebody who's watching this video is going to think we're pretty silly. Okay, and then I want you to come forward a little bit and just keep a nice straight back. Keep your breastbone lifted and walk towards the front of your yoga mat. Keeping your hips down, your sit bones down. And then using your hands, push yourself back up and change whatever leg's in front to the back. Reconnect with your sit bones and walk out again. Keeping your buttocks down and reaching forward. Draw the belly in and up, get space between your hips and your ribs. If there's any problems with your knees, please support them. Okay, and then exhale and release or modify the pose. Okay, good. And then take your legs out in front in Dandasana. Draw the kneecaps up, engage the quads. Draw the femur bones down, draw the thigh bones down heavy into the ground. You can come off your block if you want to. And take your hands down to your sides and push your hands down as you lift your body up. So same as if you had your hand on your head, pushing up into those imaginary hands. And draw the spine forward. And then soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. So you want to really push, particularly the outer heel, in towards each other, and the baby toe side of the foot, and see if even you can open up your foot like a book. Use your hands if you want. And I can't do it without, some people can do it without even using their hands, but they can just open their foot like a book. So that's where we're going here. Good. And then take your hands and help your knees back up and go back into Dandasana. Push down as you lift up, lift your armpit, chest up, front armpits up, and draw the spine forward. Good. And then you're going to bend your knee and place your heel back as far as you can towards your buttocks. And we're on a block here. So, you know, or if you've gone off your block, you can do this. You don't have to have the block. And what I want you to do is, you know, you can take this leg and draw it behind you like this. It's probably the best thing. And then we're just going to lean forward. So it creates dorsiflexion in the front ankle. So you need to take the front of your ankle back towards your heel, take your shin bone back, and then you can like use your hands behind you or in front of you to lean forward, but keep the heel down. So I'm right now doing my left foot. This foot is where I have a little ankle issue. And so it's harder for me I'm not really even getting my butt off my block very much to get this dorsiflexion because it's a little bit inhibited. So, but I'm working on it. So I keep pushing through the heel, drawing the shin bone back. Find that four corners of my feet, and I'm really pushing the heel down. Even assisting it with my hand. Okay, good. And then exhale and release. And then we're going to take the other leg behind. Like that. If you can't take the other leg behind, you can still do this with the leg out in front. The whole idea is that you're just leaning. We're getting some action in the calf, in the Achilles here, and we're creating dorsiflexion in the ankle. So front of the ankle coming back to the heel, and I'm going to lean forward. I'm going to even bring my butt off my block and see if you want to see this sideways. I have to go the other side. If you're not sure what I'm doing, this heel is staying down. I'm bringing my body forward. I'm just creating a lot of flexion in my front ankle, seeing where my mobility is, taking my shin bone back and pushing through the heel and stretching a little bit of the calf. Leaning forward. So this is going to prepare us when we have to come and do a squat. Okay, and then exhale and release. Okay, that was fun. And like I said, I wanted to use something for the bottom of the foot. So if you have your ball handy, any kind of a ball, tennis ball, golf ball, any kind of a ball, then you can use that, okay? And we can do a little massage on the bottom of the feet. If you don't have that, you can use the edge of a block, you know, just rub your foot into the edge of the block. Like that, and just mush it around. That works. And if you don't have either of those options, maybe you've got the little soft blocks, then come down on the floor and just massage your foot. Anything with your two hands, just give it a good massage in there. Go right into the metatarsals and the muscles in between them, and just give a good massage. So if you do have a ball, you're here, and just work it a little bit. Again, due to summer shoes, our feet react differently. I will stress again that that shoes with a hard sole are so much better for our feet because they actually create our situation where our foot has to work. It has to use the muscles. So soft shoes, walking along in soft grass, is not as good for our feet, right? And then change the other foot and give that foot a little massage. So if you're using your hands, fine. If you're rubbing against the end of a block, all kinds of tools that are out, you know, to help us with these kind of work. But, you know, these balls work really, really well. And so I'm just working on that. Okay, and then just stand in Tadasana and see how your feet feel now, and maybe even the whole end of your body, or back of your body, sorry, not the end. And then inhale, lift up, get really nice and tall. You can join your thumbs if you want and try to pull the thumbs apart. I don't know if you can see in the video in here, but I'm grabbing my thumbs, I'm pulling them apart. It's funny, I measure at home, but somehow I got taller. I mean, I measured at like 8 o'clock, and then I got taller by 9:30. Okay, so we're lengthening, we're pulling apart. And then exhale, let that go, your thumbs, bend your knees, and just come forward into a nice forward bend. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure one of you weren't having a difficulty. Okay, sit bones up, abdomen on your thighs, draw your belly in and up, let your head drop. This is not about the hamstrings right now, it's just about lengthening the spine. So our knees are bent. And you can even interlock your hands and grab them. Again, belly up, abdomen and the thighs can push together, creating a contraction that will allow release. And draw your sit bones up and away from each other. And then come halfway up, find a nice straight back, and then come all the way up to standing. And bring your feet in a comfortable distance apart again into Tadasana. Shift your weight onto your heels and draw your tailbone down. So we did a little bit of prep work with the feet. And we stretch the ankle. Think of the weight being in your heels, the front of the ankle coming back to the back of the ankle, and sit down, draw your knees back as best you can into a chair pose, Uttanasana, and draw your inner thighs up. Hug your knees together and draw your feet away from each other. So as if you've got a block in between the knees, you can put one there if it makes it better for you, and draw your feet away from each other. Draw the belly in and up. Get really long in the waist, between your hips and your ribs. Lift the armpit chest up so you're not collapsing at the upper body. Draw your head back, your chin back, and then exhale and release. All right. So just move your ball aside so you don't slip on it or anything. Move your blocks aside. And come down to lying down on your back. Which way do I want to go? So we're going to do this action where you pump your legs. And so again, we prepared for this. Toes come towards if you're not sure, watch me here. I'm gonna move back a little bit so you can. So pump your feet, you're just pumping your feet like this. We're gonna do a lying down motion, and you're sending the energy all the way through your body. It's relaxing at the same time as strengthening and stimulating. So we're going to do that as we lie down. Okay, so this is where I said there'll be some movement interjected into the class. So we're just pumping. The heels stay on my yoga mat, and the feet come back and forth. And what results is the whole body shaking. And again, we would be just like the crazy arm circles. We want to be maybe doing this until we feel fatigue in our leg. Now, if you feel instant fatigue, then maybe you need to stop and then start again. Stop and start again until you can just build up a little bit of strength in those legs. But we're pumping. Give your body, it's like giving your body a shake. I was holding my hands up, but just let your hands drop too, so that every part of your body can be involved. And this is good for the lymphatic system, which is good for our immune system. And again, I'll stress that more than ever, we were just talking earlier that perhaps there's some more cases coming. I hope we're not heading on an upward trajectory, but please take care of your immune system. Stay away from the sugar, keep active. Wear a mask when you're inside with people, but if you're outside, let yourself breathe, and you're not really close to people, just let yourself breathe naturally, because it's really important. Our breath is so important for our immune system. Nothing is as important right now in terms of our health as keeping everything good. We should be making sure we're taking our vitamin D. It's almost too hot to sit outside, but if you are sitting in a bikini, you might not need it, but otherwise, you probably do. Okay, so we're pumping, and then we're going to stop, and we're just going to let ourselves relax for a second and just feel, and sense the energy flowing through our body. So sense and feel. Okay, then we're going to take our right knee up to our chest, and normally, I'm asking you to take it in line, sort of with your shoulder or your chest, but take it over a little bit to the right, because we're preparing for the ability to do a lunge and a squat with the leg up. So we're just drawing the knee in towards the chest. Of course, you're pushing through your left foot, keeping a nice neutral spine, so not rolling your pubic bone up towards your face. Draw your pubic bone away from your face, in fact. Feel your lower back and your belly drawing together like a panini, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You want to draw them in towards each other. They're attracted to each other. So both are active, and you're just hugging that knee into your chest. And then you can take the inside of the foot into happy baby pose on the one side. Now there's a tendency to let your leg come out to the right and even lift your left hip up. And today I'm going to say, go ahead and do that. It's okay if your hip comes up a little bit, but keep pushing through the left foot and trying to extend the left side of your body as you draw down. And I'm pushing my hand into my foot and my foot up into my hand so that the knee is reaching towards the floor as much as possible, and get a nice stretch in the inner groin and across the pubic bone. So I'm letting myself tilt a little bit, but I'm trying to control it with my other foot. Good. And then let that leg go, extend it out. Okay. And then we're going to do the other side. Left knee in towards the chest, a little bit more over to the left. So I'm taking it with my left hand a little bit to the left of my left shoulder, hugging in. Again, pubic bone going away from my head, not towards it. Feeling the natural curves in my back, pushing through my right foot. Just playing with it there, and then grabbing the inner heel. If you can't, don't forget, if you can't grab the inner heel, this is where your strap comes in really handy. Use the strap, push your heel down. If your right hip comes up a little bit, that's okay. Keep pushing through your right foot. Keep the right part of your sacrum, the lower back, on the floor if you can, but if it tips a little bit, it's okay. Today, we're working sort of a different idea today. So it's okay. Now, hand pushes down, foot pushes up into the hand, so there's that isometric action. Good, and then exhale and release, and bring that leg down. Hopefully that was pretty equal in time. Okay, grab again your right leg, interlock your fingers behind your leg, hug it into your chest. Now this time we're going to try to straighten the leg. So I'm going to try to straighten my leg. I'm pushing my hands into my thigh and my quad back into my hamstring, and I'm extending, pushing through the heel and the ball of the foot. So I'm kind of doing that Supta Padangusthasana idea, but just using my hands, not a belt. And lengthening and then releasing. And I'll do the other side. Left leg comes up and grab. You want to be in the meatiest part of your thigh, right into the hamstring, so that when you push the quad back into the hamstring, you feel resistance. And that is what is going to help lengthen the hamstring a little bit. So straighten as much as you can. Keep pushing the hamstring towards you with your hands, keep pushing the quadricep, the thigh, front thigh back, and lengthen. Good, and then exhale and release, and let go. Okay, one more thing while we're lying down here is we're gonna take some nice knee circles. So start with your leg bent, and then you're going to make some circles. Let's just do 4 one way. Okay, and if you're feeling like you're cracking or there's a big clunk as you do this, okay, that's 4. You go small, okay? You don't have to go big. And then we go the other way for, and on this side there is like, you know, it wasn't when I was going clockwise, it was fine, counterclockwise, not so. So I have to do a little smaller circle here. 3 and 4. Okay, and then place that leg down. And we'll do 4 one way on the other side. Hip is good on this side, no clunking. And then 4 the other way. Oh, not so good. 3, so I'm going a little smaller, and 4. Good, all right. Now, we're going to take something, a block or a pillow, and we're gonna lie on our side. Now, again, I put all my blankets away. I don't know why I did that, but anyways, okay. We're gonna lie on our side. If you're sensitive in the hip, put a blanket underneath your hip. And we're gonna put a block or a pillow or something underneath our legs. And if you watch, I'm gonna go a little bit this way so you can see. And then I'm gonna extend out and just hold my head in my hand like this. And what I want to work on is I'm going to bring the heel down as if it's going to touch my other foot, and then it's up as far as I can. 1. We're just going to do a few of these. 2. 3. 4. And then let's do one more. 5. So there's your touchdown. I lift up. I'm just going to hold that a little bit. And then I'm going to come back down. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. And we'll come down. Knees are bent. So if you think about what's happening here, I didn't explain on the other side. I'm pushing through my heel and I'm lifting my heel up. So my top leg is internally rotating. And then as I bring my leg down, it's externally rotating. So up is internal, external, internal, external, internal, external. That was 4, and I'll do one more, and this time I'm holding my heel up. I'm holding in an internal rotation. I'm sideways on my one hip right on top of the other. Try not to roll back into your sacrum. Okay, so we're holding that, and then we're gonna release and let go. Okay, now you can let the block drop out of the way. Oops. And let's roll onto our right side. Back again, place the hand. And we want one leg stacked on the other. So again, there's always a tendency in this pose to roll the hips back. We want to keep one stacked right on top of the other. Okay, and the first action is just going to be to lift the leg up. See if you can grab the toe. If you can't, just go here or here under the thigh and try to lift the leg up. Okay, if you can get into this pose here, great. If not, then just work at whatever level you can. Okay, and the whole time we're doing this, you're drawing the sacrum forward, the lower back, drawing the belly back towards the sacrum, and you're staying on your side. So there's a tendency to do this, roll back, but don't allow yourself to do that. Okay, sacrum forward. And you know, if grabbing the ankle works for you better, that's fine. Okay, and then exhale and release. All right, and then we're going to do a sweep. So we're going to come forward and around with the front foot, just forward and around. We'll do that 4 times. 3, 4, and then 1, 2, the other way. 3, the other direction. 4. Good. And then both legs lifting up off of the floor, holding that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then releasing. All right, and then come on up, and we'll do that whole series on the other side. I'm gonna get my little blanket, excuse me for a second. I have a very sensitive hip, so I'm gonna put my little blanket down. Okay, on the side. So here we go. Find your alignment on the side. So again, there's a tendency to bring the legs too far forward. And we really need to work on the spine here. So make sure that you're pushing your sacrum forward and your belly back, engaging. Okay, then you're gonna take the leg up and see if you can hold the toe and draw the leg up. So sacrum forward. So again, remember, if you can't get the toe, you can use a belt, but you can also grab thigh here, grab ankle, leg, anywhere. Well, the action is really in the pelvis here. We're drawing the sacrum forward. Okay, see what you can do. Take your kneecap up, quad back. Push through the foot. Good, and then exhale and release. Okay, and we're doing a sweeping motion. Again. 3, out in front. 4, and then back. 1, 2, 3, 4, the opposite way. Good. And then both legs up together, pushing through the ball of the foot and the heel. Holding. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. And then release and let go. All right. I'm going to come back up to standing. Move my blanket over. So the action now is similar to what we did on the floor, because I want to get this pumping. So we're going to come, if you watch my feet, we're going back and then back on our toes, okay? And what we're going to do is bring our butt back when our toes are up, and then bring our butt forward when our toes are down, okay? So here's the action. Uncoordinated. Dancing has always been a challenge for me. Okay, so we're going back, up, up, up. I should say it the right way, up and then back. To see what you're doing, what you can do. Remember, this is the joy of being at home. No one is recording you. Only me has to look silly. Okay. So back and forward, back and forward, and then see if you can really kind of spring up on your feet. Every 3 or 4, I lose my balance. Feel free to hold on to something if that helps. Okay, good. And then that should feel a little bit like you are, you've used some energy for there. Okay, so now I'll turn sideways again. We're going to pump our heels, bend our knees and pump our heels. So just sort of a continuation on that. All right, and then come back to center. I did it about 8 times. Let's do it one more time. 1. You're just pumping your heels lightly. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then come back to standing. Now, remember when you're doing this, to sort of tune in and see, is one foot pumping harder than the other? Are you in balance? Okay, and one more time. So I'm bending, leaning forward, and I'm pumping my heels. 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale and release. Okay, next, we're going to go from there into hopefully a squat. And so we're going to take our feet a little wider and bring our feet out. We're going to inhale, lift up, all right? All right, and then exhale and come down into the squat, and then inhale, come up. All right, notice my knees are going in line with my feet. Exhale, inhale, get really nice and tall. Exhale, inhale. It's not a full squat, but we're getting as far as we can. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So if you have sore knees, I mean, feel free to put a block in between and just practice the up and down. It's okay. You don't have to do the wider variation. Okay. So again, let me show you that. So those of you who have knee issues, this is important. And even if your knees are hurting, don't give up. You've got to keep strengthening. So inhale, exhale. You see, squeezing the block, making sure that your knees are in line with your ankles. It works just as well. I'm just trying to go a little wider so that maybe we could go a little further. Okay, notice when I go down, my knee is over my ankle. Okay, arms in front or arms behind, doesn't really matter. What we're doing is we're lengthening. All right, one more. Good, and then exhale and release. Now, in order with my ankle to go into a full squat, I need to do something. I need to place my heels on something. So I could use a wedge board. You could use your blanket. Okay, you can roll up. I have this sort of rubber mat blanket. It's actually a travel yoga mat. Not my favorite thing to work on, but okay, so whatever works well. We're gonna put our heels on it. You might need a lot of height. You can put yourself, a big pillow if that helps. I've got this pillow, my home pillow here. I could use that. Whatever you need to get your heels on and then release down. And if you do have knee issues or your knees are sore for some reason today, please feel free to lie on your back and do that squat, or there's this squat here where curl your toes under and just keep working on back and forth. It depends how much pressure you can put on your knee, whether that is going to be an option for you. Okay, so whatever you need to get down into an actual squat. So again, you have options. You have legs forward option. You have legs wide with the feet turned out, which is what I'm working on sort of today. So if you want to do that one, that would be great. And then take your hands to the inside of your knees and push your knees out and push your hands back in. So by doing that, I'm in fact keeping my knees in line with my ankles and between my second and third toe. I'm pushing my elbows out, my knees in. And I'm letting my tailbone drop down towards the floor. I'm leaning back, almost like I'm going to lean over in a backward somersault, but don't, because I have a fireplace behind me that would kind of hurt. Whatever, you want to be heavy, heavy on the heels. And we're hanging out here in the squat pose. Squats again are something we should do, or a squat every day. Hang out here. So good for the knees, pelvis, our brain, because of the vagus nerve that travels from our abdomen up into our brain, sending energy and all that good stuff. So we hang out here. So I'm pushing my elbows out and my knees in. Whew. You should not feel shins hurting. That means you've got your weight too far forward. Go up higher, put more weight back into your heels. Good. And then exhale and release and come on out. And just come to Tadasana again. So you see why we did the footwork, see why we did the ankle work. A little stretch in the Achilles. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, and come down into chair pose again. Again, lift armpit, chest up. and belly down. So arms can reach up, or here in prayer, whatever feels good for you. And then inhale and come back up to standing. Good. All right. So we're going to next come down onto all fours. And we're going to take our hands. I think we did this last week, but I just think it's really good for our rest. So we're just going to lean into our hands. Make sure that you have every knuckle pushed into the yoga mat. You're squeezing your thumb and your baby finger together, so you're activating the arches and the rest. And then you're going to lift up, turn your hands on an angle outwards, then a little bit more, so their fingers are facing away from each other, and then keep going until the wrists are back, or sorry, the hands are back, wrists are forward. See how far you can go there, and then work your way back. So it's just really warming up the wrists. You know, sometimes if something doesn't feel strong in my body, I want to avoid it, so I don't want to put a lot of pressure on my wrists, but then I realize that that's counterproductive. It's not going to get any better by ignoring it, and I need to keep working. So that's how I feel about my rest. I do a lot of wrist work in my Thai massage, and so therefore my wrists are hypermobile. I need to keep them strong. So I'm just working that. Okay, good. And then just give that a shake out. So we're coming to our first downward dog today. What we're leading towards is downward dog to the action of bringing our leg back and forth in plank pose. Sorry, in lunge pose. So that's where we're leaning towards. So, but first let's go into our downward dog. And like I said, I have movement going on in the class today, so that's where I'm at. So is your index finger pointing upward, and are you putting weight through that big thumb side and the index finger side of your hand, so that you're not resting the weight on the smaller bone in the wrist? And then you're going to bring your hips back to your heels, so your toes are tucked under, and we're going to pop up into downward dog. And if if you're in a hurry, of course, maybe you're already up there, but because I told you where we're going, but take things slow and see how your downward dog feels today. Again, lift your heels up really high and get your sit bones up high. We don't want to, work about the hamstrings first. It's about lengthening first. And then we draw up and bring the heels back. Now, we're going to come forward into plank pose. Breastbone forward, heels back, and then we're going to go back into downward dog. And if that doesn't work well for you, it's usually because your stance is too short. So come back, forward, plank pose, and back into. So this is just movement. That was 3. We're going to do it 4. Let's do it 8 times. And if you need to be down on your knees for this because of rests, then that's fine. You can do this on your knees. Just go back and forth like this. 6, okay. 7 and 8. Good. And then come on back. And take a rest and just shake your hands out. So what I do find is that the more I activate my hands, the less pressure there is on the wrist. And also if I make sure I'm in the right alignment. So then I don't feel anything after. I feel like, okay, that was fine. Okay, so now we're going to take our right, we're going to go into downward dog, and we're going to take our right leg. I'm going to turn actually around the other side, out to the side of my hand. Okay, so I'm going to go into my downward dog. Bring your right knee into your chest, as if you're trying to touch your knee into your right elbow, and then step the foot. So you're in right foot lunge. So we might as well hang out here for a bit, just because we're here. I'm going to come up on my fingertips so that my upper back isn't so rounded. I can bring my breastbone forward, but you could also use blocks for that purpose. And you would be here. But it's the coming back and forth that we're practicing today. So let's just hang out here. I'm drawing my knee forward. I'm pushing my four corners of my foot into the floor, and I'm bringing my left heel back and my left leg. So I've got my right knee forward, and I'm drawing the left heel back. So there's a splitting action. And then I'm going to draw my feet together as if I'm trying to close them up towards each other, close that pair of scissors. Breastbone forward. Good. All right. Now I'm going to take my hands back down to the floor. I'm going to bring that leg back into downward dog. Let's do the other side. Bring the left knee in. You know, I'm kind of coming forward a little bit in my hands, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it back. I want to round my belly, engage my core, just get that knee in as close as I can to my elbow, and then just bring the foot forward. All right, and we'll hang out here on this side a little bit. Feels totally different than the other side. So, you know, I'm resisting with my front body, the thigh is coming up, the belly's coming up. I'm pushing my heel back, bringing my left knee forward, right heel back. So I feel like I'm being split in two a little bit. And then I isometrically draw my feet together, and it just charges up the pose, charges what's happening up in your body so nicely. All right, now I'm gonna go back, take my hands off my blocks, go back into my downward dog. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, so then you know, I was gonna say very quickly, but actually it's not very quickly. We're gonna do this a few more times. So take your knee up towards your chest and then step the foot to the outside of your right hand and then come back. Do the left side, bring your knee up to your chest, push into the left side, left foot, so your left lunge with the foot wide, just like the squat. Back to downward dog. Let's do one more on each side. Hug. Come back. And hug. And come back. And downward dog. And then come back to sitting and have a little rest. Let's do a nice child's pose. So child's pose, knees together. Balasana, sit bones down, head resting, and even letting my shoulders and my shoulder blades come apart and my head rest towards the floor. And then using my hands, I'll come up sitting, and then let's do Adho Mukha Virasana. So toes wide, arms reaching out. Tailbone towards the floor, away from my head. Belly button lifting towards my head. Spine dropping. Good. Hang out there a bit more, just a few more seconds. Oh my, we have lots of time. It's only 10:19. Okay. Good. And all right, now coming out of your Adho Mukha Virasana, let's try now. We're going to do a push-up, and we're going to take our hands to the so that the fingers are facing in, the elbows are really nice and wide. Okay. And then we're going to come over, and we're going to drop to the floor. So maybe you want to start on the floor, actually, it might be easier. Sometimes the logistics is easier starting and going up. And then you're going to push up and then back down. Push up and push back down. Push up and push back down. Fingers are pointing towards each other. Push up and push back down. So this is one of those times where I was saying earlier, maybe you have a weakness in your body somewhere and you've been ignoring it. And now you try to do a push-up and you go, oh dear, can't really do that. Okay, so there we go. All right, let's go and do a little bit more movement now. So we're going to come to the front of our mat, We'll put all that together a little bit into a sun salutation. So I'm a little close here. I'm going to actually go this way, I think. So if I walk about here, okay. So find your Tadasana. Shift your weight back onto your heels. Connect with your breath. Drop your hands and inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Come halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into your plank pose. Drop down to the floor. Upward dog. So, or baby cobra. Okay, so the hips stay on the floor, pubic bone stays on the floor, hands are by your sides, really nice and close, elbows are by your side. Lift up. Exhale, release back down. Curl your toes under, downward dog. We'll step or jump forward. So, this is part of that whole thing that I was talking about, is this movement in our yoga practice. Can you try to bend your knees and step forward with both legs at the same time? Kind of do a little jump. Forward bend, halfway up, forward fold again. And isometrically draw your feet away from each other and come up to standing and then back to the heart. Again, drop your hands, inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Come halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into plank pose. And this time, drop your knees, bring your hips back to your heels. And then slide your chin forward into number 6 of the sun salutation. Shivananda style, and then up into a little cobra, and then exhale, back down, curl your toes under, downward dog. And again, see if you can spring forward towards your hands. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, back to the heart. Do one more round. Drop your seat into chair pose. Forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Exhale back to the heart. We're doing just like class where I sort of change the sun salutation. Okay, here we go. Shift your weight. You're in Tadasana. Shift your weight on your heels. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, forward fold. Sorry, chair pose. See, just like class, mistakes and all. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into plank. That would be something we can practice in the future, is dropping, stepping back into plank pose by jumping too. So we come all the way down to the floor, lift up into little baby cobra, release, downward dog. Now we're going to do a traditional lunge. So this time our foot is not going to go outside the hand. It's going to go right in between the hands. And you can drop your back knee, or you can keep it up. And bring that foot back into downward dog. And we'll take the other leg forward. Again, we could do that movement of just bring the leg back and forth. Just practice that movement if you want to stop the video later on and do that. Good. And then this time we're going to take that back leg and spring it forward to meet the front foot into a forward bend. my own little version of this sun salutation. Inhale, arms up over your head. We'll end again in a chair pose. We'll not end, but do a chair pose before we end. And then inhale up to standing. And find your Tadasana. Good, and then release. Okay, so next, in this theme of movement, and it's almost 10:30, so we're rounding down. Again, you may want to put a blanket underneath your body, because I'm going to recommend, like we've been doing these movements, that we do a rock and roll, because nothing's better than that in terms of movement if you're wanting to have fun, right? Okay, so rock and roll. You can do it with your hands on your legs. You can do it with your hands in here. You can cross your feet. And you just rock and roll back and forth on your yoga mat. Come up to sitting. Some people might even want to come up to standing. You're welcome to do that. You might want to take your legs right back into, touch the floor, right into a sort of a plow post or halasana. And you might also want to go around in a circle, which is really nice for the core. You could end up all the way over to the other side. Turn yourself right around. And then you could also go back the other way. Now, be careful too, you don't have to go really far if your back is sensitive, the bones in your back, right? And that's where padding comes in. So you can use some padding to make it a little bit softer. But this does massage those erector spinae muscles. And then you might want to try the more formal Paschimottanasana, like forward bend. Again, make sure your knees are on your thighs are on your abdomen, and come all the way over to plow post. And then back to Paschimottanasana, sitting forward bend. Halasana. If we were staying, of course, we'd be using all our blankets and our props. So anything in that realm. And if that doesn't work for you, all this movement, just do like crazy bug. It's like you're a dead bug on the ground and you're just moving your arms and your legs. So there's an alternative if you're feeling stuck today. Maybe spine is not feeling so great in those other poses. So you can do crazy bug. Again, when people watch this video that don't know us, they're going to think or don't know me, they're going to think we're pretty crazy. All right. And then after all that activity, we need a little bit of a rest. So I'm going to suggest, of course, Shavasana, but before we do Shavasana, we'll do just a little Supta Padangusana. So we'll take our right foot and we'll put it in the strap. And we'll just work this hamstring a little bit. Oh, and one more thing. Yeah, we'll do this. Let's hold this just for about a minute. We're only doing this one variation. So kneecap, engage, drawing down towards the hip. Quad engage, pushing back, push through the heel, the ball of the foot. Push with your left foot. Most of you know this pose quite well, so whatever works. Try pushing into the outer heel, isometrically, resisting with your strap. So pushing my strap to the left to push out through my right heel. And then let's exhale, release that leg down and change legs. So movement in our practice, especially if it gets our heart rate up going a little bit, it's really good because it's good for our heart, of course. We don't need to jog 20 miles or anything to get good heart health. We just need to have a variable heart rate at times. So work up a little bit, you know, you can be nice and calm and relaxed, and then you can work your heart rate up a little bit. You can develop some heat in the body to burn off toxins and stuff. So we didn't doing the other leg. I don't know if I said that. Good. And then exhale and release and roll over onto your side. And we'll just do that lying down quad stretch. So I'm just going to grab my ankle or the top of my foot, whatever works best. I'm going to bring my heel to my buttocks, draw the knee away from my head. It's a nice variation. Try to keep my knee in line with my hip, so I had it up way too high. Just draw it down and back and just stretch the quad. This is when I see all the dust under my sofa. The joys of doing yoga at home is I get to see all the things I should be doing in my house, like cleaning. This time of year, my garden gets the attention. Walks get my attention, my bike. And my house gets very little attention. Okay, so other side. Figure out how you want to stretch that quad. And then we're ready for Shavasana. And again, just be comfortable, have something soft underneath your head. Maybe you want something underneath your knees. Please remember that to go on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I put a new video on there yesterday of a little interview I did with Kyle Black, and Kale Black, sorry, not Kyle, Kale. And he's he's an environmentalist and a meditation expert. And it's the sound is a little bit funny at points, but it's a really good interview. So if you have a minute, tune into that. Okay, exhale and release. Good, and you're ready for Shavasana. Wow, that was good. So I think it was good. You can tell me later. Lie down, I'll walk you through it. Remember, at the end of class, you can stay on if you have questions or you want to talk to me about anything. And we'll have a nice short Shavasana here. So find your place of comfort, and the first thing that you want to do is from the practice today is sense and feel. How is your heart rate? Do you need to take some deep breaths to calm down now? You're all charged up. Maybe place your hand on your belly and your chest, your sternum, so that you can just regulate your breath. And allow yourself to sink into softness. Sink into your support. It's like you want to melt into it, which is easy to imagine in this hot weather. So from activity and movement, we go to this, this profound stillness, this total lack of movement, and the total lack of doing. And we know from experience that this is a learned ability that we have, that we cultivate in yoga, to just let ourselves be relaxed, give ourselves permission to let go. Focusing on your breath. sensing and feeling and exploring your body without any judgment or criticism. Just being present in this moment, and trying not to worry or think about anything else but what you're doing right at this time. The feeling of your body, the feeling of your breath, staying present. Of course, if you're ready to end your practice, you can follow along the next part. If you want to stay in Shavasana, you just keep lying there. Feel free to do that. But if you are ready to come out, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms up over your head. Point your toes and flex your feet. And then just let your hands fall like this. And make a great big sigh as you do that. Just exhale. And then bring your knees up towards your chest. Roll gently from side to side. Roll over onto your right side. And when you're ready, slowly come up to sitting. And bring your hands to your heart. And just bow to the divine within. Be grateful for the practice today. I'm very grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Namaste. Have a great rest of the day. As I said, I'm going to come forward, turn the recording off, unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. And check out, again, some of the good stuff I've been putting on YouTube, the interviews and stuff, talking about meditation and other topics. Okay, have a good day. Thank you so much. Here I come at you.